Surveillance Break exclusive. Good morning, everyone. This is Bloomberg Surveillance. We're live from our world headquarters in New York. This Wednesday, June 18th. I'm Tom Keene. Joining me, Scarlett Fu and the well-coiffed Adam Johnson with us. Cocktails with Mr. Lundquist here at any moment. Our guest host this hour on the Federal Reserve, of course, Thomas Porcelli is Chief U.S. Economist, RBC Capital Markets, joining us as we move to 2 p.m. this afternoon. Also with us on consumption and the spirit of retail, Mortimer Singer, Chief Executive Officer of Marvin Traub Associates. Great to have both of you. Two different worlds linking in here. Tom, I look at the raging battle right now in my conversation with Madame Lagarde, joining Bill Gross in what clearly is this idea of a subdued potential GDP or actual GDP, and there's a set of optimists that push against this. Where are you?
You know, it's funny, over what time period? Because over the more sort of short term, I can easily make an argument for sort of trend growth of about 2% in the United States. But once you get beyond the next 3, 4, 5 years, trend growth is going to shift down materially in the U.S., closer to 1.5%, and this is all because of the demographic dynamics that we're...
Is there any experience of any central bank or the Federal Reserve able to game that shift?
No, you know, the reality for really any central bank is central banks don't really respond to structural issues. They respond to cyclical issues. So even in an environment where I could easily build out a scenario where, again, growth shifts down to 1.5% in the U.S., the reality is even with a 1.5% trend rate of growth, you could still have some inflationary impulses, and that's ultimately what the Fed will respond to. So central banks respond to cyclical, not necessarily to structural.
Hey, Morty Singer, I mean, the idea here of consumption, you're knee-deep in it. To review, winter and spring didn't happen, right?
Winter was obviously for various reasons incredibly tough because everyone blames the weather and the weather. Yeah. But I think in general the consumer's feeling pretty good. You know, the housing situation is good, the stock market situation is good. We have to keep an eye on oil, but I think ultimately things are looking pretty promising.
But have the retailers trained its customers to always wait until things are 40% off, 50% off before actually pulling the trigger?
Well, in this country in particular, the promotional cadence of markdowns is been around forever, and it continues to be the case. And I think there's a training of it, but ultimately there's a science to it which has been perfected.
Tom, you said something that really kind of stopped me in my tracks for a moment, and that was...
Should I feel honored by that?
What?
Does it take a lot or a little to stop you in your tracks?
This one's a lot. You said that we're slowing down long-term to 1.5%. As I listen to Morty talk about the consumer feeling, where do you come up with that?
It's very straightforward, and it's basically math. At the end of the day, what you have to keep in mind is that the working age population in the U.S. is downshifting. The population growth rates for that cohort is downshifting very materially. Broadly speaking, if you just look at the growth rates for the population in the United States, you know, we were running north of 1% for decades, and now we're going to be downshifting to 0.5% growth, and that's sort of the dynamic behind this. And I'm happy to get into the sort of more of the mechanics of it, but broadly speaking, that's what basically causes this issue.
Yeah, Mort Singer with us and Tom Porcelli as we get you ready not only for trading this morning, but also, of course, to the Fed meeting at 2 p.m. with our company news this Wednesday.
Little styrofoam peanuts.
Yeah, so annoying. They'll go everywhere.
The world's #2 fashion retailer reported quarterly profit and revenue that beat analyst estimates. Sweden's H&M said earnings were up 25% in the quarter that ended May 31st. H&M plans to open 375 stores around the world this year. It'll also add up to 10 new online markets. And that is today's company news. Morty, H&M seems to have been kind of behind the ball on the online part of its business. Why is that?
Well, many of the vertical retailers have tried to shift people to their stores, and they now realize that the omni-channel business is 5 times more valuable than a mono-channel business, so that customer who shops everywhere ends up really being a hugely profitable customer.
When was the last time you stepped foot in an H&M, Tom?
Help me out.
Not a lot.
Never been in one.
The music's a little too loud, right?
Wouldn't know.
Yeah, they got DJs in the windowns. It's like disposable clothes, though, right? It lasts like one season.
Yeah, but they're one of the best retailers anywhere. I mean, globally, they have partners all over the world. They go direct themselves. We get a call a week from somewhere saying, get us H&M into our territory.
Very quickly, how quickly does a place like H&M get what is on the runway in Paris or New York into their showroom? Is it weeks?
That's part of the issue with the fashion industry right now. We touched on it last time, that ultimately everything that's happening in any given fashion week ends up in Zara or H&M stores 2 weeks after the fashion.
2 weeks? And that's not copyright? Like, what is it copyright infringement?
It's an inspiration.
Great.
It's fabric and thread, and it could be yours.
Clive Davis said that once about a record.
Correct.
Yeah, right. All right, so coming up, a big day for Amazon out in Seattle. CEO